Hi everyone, welcome to Dividends, the show for and about your College of Business. Hope you all had a great summer. Have a good program today. Two returning guests actually. The first is Michael Lane. Michael, you wear many hats at the East Center. You're a wily veteran now. You've been with us for some time.
Yeah, I'm going on just about 3 years now that I've been involved in the East Center in some way or another.
Well, let's remind folks who you are, where you're from, what you're studying.
So yeah, my name is Michael Lane. I'm a senior in mechanical engineering here at State. I'm originally from Amory, Mississippi, is where I grew up. Came here to State after doing my 2-year stint at a community college down at ICC. And I more or less got involved with Maker and the East Center as soon as I started here.
All right, so when you say maker, you mean makerspace.
Yeah.
Tell folks what a makerspace is.
So makerspaces are community-oriented labs that provide equipment and resources so people can come in and build their own designs and all that without actually having to have those resources at home.
And you've been over the one on campus now for some time.
Yes, since about the beginning of 2016.
And along the way, you've sort of parlayed this into your own entrepreneurial effort.
Yeah, so we are currently working on management software and systems to run makerspaces and similar type labs. Mm-hmm. And the idea is to make it more feasible for other places to open up makerspaces and spread the resources around.
So what are some of the challenges in running a makerspace? I mean, I can think of some off the top of my head because we're talking about power tools and scheduling and things like that.
Yeah, so obviously we have issues where generally given access to tools that most people don't have experience with, 3D printers, CNCs, and then you combine that with generally high turnaround, high volume, and it creates issues for things that are largely volunteer run.
And your software will help manage all that.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so what's the big news?
So our big news right now is we're currently in the process of opening up a brand new makerspace in downtown Starkville. And hopefully that will be going up pretty soon. So
what's the thought process in wanting to move off campus? It's a leading question because I understand that it's really part of a bigger approach from the East Center, but tell us why a makerspace downtown?
So one of my main goals with getting it downtown is we want easier access for the community to get involved. We want people to be able to walk by the front door and see what STEAM and STEM education and those kind of things can do, not just what you learn in school, but the stuff you might not see that often, all the creativeness that is involved with it.
And it's not just necessarily walking past and kind of pressing your face against the window. They'll be able to participate in this space, which is fairly unique, right?
Yes, so we want community members to get involved with it, come in, be able to build their own designs, get used to the tech, mix and mingle so ideas can grow from those interactions and that kind of thing.
And how is that set up? Is that, I guess it's some kind of membership?
Yeah, so it'll be monthly memberships, and people can join or stay in as long as they want. And they'll be given access to all that tech and equipment.
And there will be university folks on hand to sort of run and manage the building and all.
Yes, we will have staffing from university students and stuff to help teach people and manage equipment.
All right, so what kind of stuff's going to be in there?
So we'll have everything ranging from basic woodworking up to CNC mills.
For those who don't know, what's a CNC machine?
So CNC stands for computer numeric control. And basically what it does is you'll design whatever you want cut in some type of software, and then you upload it into the CNC and it cuts it for you.
So it's very, very precise, and if you have widgets that need to be replicated exactly, it can do that.
It does it.
So it saves time and it really perfects the process, I guess.
Yeah, that is one of the main advantages of CNCs.
All right, so what would it be if I came in off the street and said, hey, I want to make these, really fine wooden bowls or whatever? What would I do?
So we'll start them through the process. If they've never had never had experience with tools, we'll start working them through the tools they need. For wood bowls, it'd generally be stuff like lathes and things like that they need to get experience with.
And you hope to have this running, you know, early in the fall, up and running and going.
That is the goal.
All right.
September-ish timeline.
Good. Well, look, thanks for the time you've spent in the East Center. You have really helped define what that space is all about, what it looks like, and all that. So thanks for that. And folks, next time you come to Starkville, by all means, come down Main Street and stop in and see the new Mississippi State University CEO Makerspace downtown. We'll be back with more in a moment.
The Entrepreneurship Center exists to give innovators here at Mississippi State an edge. Our goal is to provide startups with the resources and support they need to reach the marketplace and ultimately achieve success.
Success for us was growing our company from 2 founders to 8 employees.
Success for me was turning my personal lifestyle into a corporate partnership.
Success for us is turning academic research into applied engineering solutions.
Success for me was turning my passion into a profitable opportunity.
The success of our entrepreneurs is a team effort. It takes a strong support infrastructure of people to encourage innovation and explore new ventures. We need business leaders to mentor and guide these visionaries through the practical challenges and do everything we can to give them a shot at real success.
Imagine the next big idea from the next generation of business leaders. We are at Mississippi State University, where we ring true.
Welcome back, everyone. We talk a lot about the growth of the Entrepreneurship Center at Mississippi State and the growth of the program, and it is due to the work of a lot of folks, but no one more so than the Center Director, Eric Hill, and he's our next guest, and really want to walk us through the updates and the progress that you have made with the center. It's phenomenal. As someone who has sort of been sitting on the sidelines watching this, you have taken a small but growing program and turned it into something that's getting attention outside of Mississippi. So congrats on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And tell us where we are. I mean, we've been in the center, the new center, a couple of years now. What is the state of the CEO?
Yeah, it's so many exciting things happening right now, and we've been this summer in the process of fine-tuning the program that we've been operating now for a couple of years. And part of that is to figure out how can we best take a company that has a new idea and get them to the point of raising money faster. And a whole lot of people have been part of that equation. The group of more than 20 alumni that have formed the Bulldog Angel Network.
That really was a missing piece, and that was something you had talked about and had some hand-wringing over, right? Because it was not an easy process to get it done. And has it met your expectations, exceeded your expectations?
Far exceeded. The network launched last June, and in 1 year's time, 4 companies were able to raise more than $1 million thanks to their help. So that's really moving the needle in a concrete way. More than 14 jobs created with people under the age of 25 staying in Mississippi that otherwise wouldn't have happened.
Before they get anywhere near ready, Angel Network ready, investment ready, they have to start somewhere. So walk us through the updated process of the kid that comes to the East Center and says, I've got an idea. What happens next? Sure. So we have 4 stages. A student comes in and we give them a very long and somewhat intimidating checklist, but it gives them all the steps from I have an idea
to that point where we're talking about where they receive capital investment. So they go through a series of steps. Our maker space is a big part of the prototyping piece of that, but more importantly, they are iterating their business each time over 3 advisory boards, and it gets progressively harder. So the first group is a group of peers of the students, current students and recent grads that have all made more than $25K in a given year. So they start as the first gate, and then they go to our ECAB, our Center's Advisory Board, which is a mix of executives and faculty members, and then finally to IRC, which is an external group of alumni that have made more than $5 million, and they are really looking at, is this ready to go? So all that added up means that there's a lot of people looking at each team working with the center. And our team is there along the way to coach them through that process.
And the results speak for themselves, but the rigor that you have added, it has gotten to the point now where folks, say in Jackson, that are connected with economic development, have said, if we get a deal that involves students that have been through the East End at Mississippi State, we know that the due diligence has been done.
Yeah, and it's a degree of managed expectations, right? So several years ago, before we had this program in place, we would have angel meetings, and both the entrepreneurs and the investors would leave frustrated. The entrepreneur would leave frustrated they didn't get money. The investor would leave frustrated they didn't have a good deal. And so part of the program is to position the entrepreneur where they're really investment ready, and investors know what they've gone through to get to that point. And that's where we're starting to see some real results out of that program.
And the program has sort of taken a holistic turn as far as getting this off campus. I know we've had conversations about, okay, we've got student entrepreneurs, they're making some money, they're getting investment, and they're young, so they all want to run off, right, to Austin, Birmingham, New Orleans, or whatever. So we've had these discussions, how do we keep them here? And we've seen some success with that, and the Maker Center really kind of ties into that, right?
Absolutely. So it's truly a situation where the sum of the parts does become greater than the whole. And the more of these young folks that come and stay and mix in the downtown area makes it a cool place to be. And we feel like the makerspace is a big part of that, because you'll have people much earlier in the process still downtown mixing with that same group of folks. And I think it's going to be cool to involve people in the community that have a lot of experience. You know, these old guys that are hanging out somewhere in their own garage tinkering can now bring that talent and work with the students that are working on cool ideas.
And then the final piece of that is trying to reach down K through 12 and just let young folks know what entrepreneurship is, and build self-esteem, and let them know, hey, they can go do that too.
That's right. A core part of our mission is creating a culture of entrepreneurship around Mississippi State, and all of those components come together to make that into something concrete.
Well, congratulations. You've just done an incredible job, and keep up the good work, and come back and give us an update a couple months from now.
Thanks. We have a great team.
That's going to do it for us, folks. We appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time on Dividends.